Not sure how to get the most out of your credit card points? Don't worry. I'm going to show you a super simple 3-step process that's going to show you exactly how to get the best value out of your credit card points every single time, because sometimes the best option actually isn't going to be what you think it is. So by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly how points work, why some are better than others, and how to stop leaving value on the table. So first things first, let's start straight from the beginning. You got some points. Okay, now what? What do we do with them? How am I going to do all these things that I keep seeing online where people flew to Paris for $500 of points? You know, that kind of a thing. How do you begin that decision-making process? Whenever you're booking travel, whether it's going to be like a flight or a hotel or whatever, there's going to be 3 main options, right? You can either pay for cash, you can use points through one of your travel portals, which is kind of like cash, or you can transfer to a travel partner. Okay, so those are the 3 options. There's really only 3 numbers that you're ever going to have to write down, and it's very simple math. It's not calculus, okay? It's just going to be simple multiplication. You can do it on your phone, okay? But we just need to compare those 3 numbers. That first option is going to be redeeming for cash, right? So let's say you have 100,000 points. If it's Chase, you're going to be redeeming that and you're going to get $1,000, okay? That's just going to be cash, 1 cent per point, which is, you know, for most credit card companies, that's what it's going to be. If you're in the Amex system and you're using Amex points, it's going to be more like 0.7 cents per point or 0.8 cents per point, depending on if you have one of their special checking accounts or not. So it's going to be a little different for each one, but really all you got to do is check. Okay, go into your bank, check. If I redeem this for cash, how much cash am I going to get out of those 100,000 points, or however much you get, right? Write that number down. That's how much cash you get back, and then you're going to spend on this travel. So that's the first option, okay? That's the simple option. 1 cent per point at most. It's not going to be great, okay? But sometimes it's the best option. Option number 2, okay? Option number 2 is going to be using one of the travel portals. Whether you're in the Chase system or in your Amex system, you know, you go into the Chase travel portal, and depending on what travel card you have, you're going to get either 1.25 cents per point, maybe 1.5 cents per point. With the new Chase, the updated program that they have, sometimes you're going to get a little bit more value per your points. Wherever it is that you want to stay, let's say you're staying at some sort of Hyatt hotel, or you're going to stay at some sort of hotel or do a flight, you write down how many points is that going to cost, okay? We have 2 numbers right now. So far, you already have a winner between the 2 of them. This is probably going to be the travel portal most of the time, but again, you're still leaving some value on the table. So it's great, but it's capped. There's a cap to how much you can get out of those points. Really quick, folks, if you found some sort of value from this, please consider subscribing and hitting that like button. It really helps out the channel, and it helps push this video out to other people that want to learn as well. So then it comes down to that third option, right? Travel partners, transferring to travel partners. And this is the one that most of the time, if you're scrolling on TikTok or you're watching Instagram and you see somebody talking about, here's how I flew to wherever for this much money, most of the time they're talking about travel partners. This is where you're gonna get a lot of value. So all you're gonna do is you're gonna use, whether it's your Capital One venture, you know, one of the venture cards, or you're gonna be using your Chase Sapphire card, or whatever card that you have that's a travel card and can transfer to certain travel partners. You're gonna transfer it over to whatever airline you're looking at or whatever hotel branch you're looking at, and then you see how many points that's going to cost you. A lot of the time, say you're flying Air Canada to Japan, it's going to cost a lot less if you transfer your points, your Chase points, over to these Air Canada points, and then you use the Air Canada points, okay? The only thing you have to do to get that third number is you go to the airline's website or the hotel's website, whatever it is, and you check, hey, if I book with miles, you check that little button. If I book with miles, how many miles is it gonna cost? You're gonna look at that transfer ratio and count out, okay, how many Chase points or how many Amex points is this gonna cost for me to get that certain number of points? So now you have your 3 numbers. You just pick the one that costs the least amount of points. And that's really it. You just find those 3 numbers. Sometimes it takes going to a partner's website or going to the airline's website, whatever it is. Okay, that's 1 extra website visit. But you find those 3 numbers, And that's that. Most of the time it takes 2 to 3 website visits, right? You're going to go to your bank's website, and then you're still going to be on your bank's website when you use their travel portal. And then you go to whatever flight website, Air Canada or Lufthansa or whatever it's going to be. It's a very quick and easy process, and it can save you hundreds of dollars. So let's use a real world example here. I'm going to pull up a real world example on my computer here. Okay, so we're going to pull it up here on my computer. Over here on the right, you are going to see the amount of Chase points that I have. I actually just recently booked a hotel for a wedding that my girlfriend and I are going to soon. And so I just used up a good amount of my points. So I only have 6,713 points, as you can see. If I redeem that for cash, that would only be $67. But let's figure out what we could do with that. So we're going to click on our points here. Okay. And again, this is going to be different for every credit card, but it's very, very simple. They're going to have it right on the front of their website. So you're going to click on the card that you want to use, which I'm going to be using my Chase Sapphire Reserve here. That's my travel card. Those are the ones that can actually transfer to travel partners and do all that fun stuff. So here we are. Here's the points that we have. We're going to go all the way down here. And then we're going to see discover ways to use points. We'll click on more ways to use. So then we see all of the ways. You can use Chase Travel, right? Or you could redeem for cash back, of course, right? With these 6,601 that are on this card, I could get $66. That's not that great, right? Gift cards, always terrible. Shopping Apple, always terrible. You're very limited to how you can use that money, right? At that point, you might as well use cash. Okay, pay with points is even worse. Most of the time, you're going to be getting less value out of it. See, it's only worth $52. Terrible, terrible. Here down at the bottom, you can transfer points. Transfer your Ultimate Rewards points at a 1-to-1 ratio with one of our airline and hotel travel partners. So this works for the airlines, it works for the hotels. We're going to give that a click. Sometimes there are going to be bonus offers, right? IHG Hotels and Resorts, they've partnered up with Chase. As they have recently on some of the other, on this card, as well as some of their other little business deals that they've done with IHG. So we're going to see there's a little bit of a bonus here. You get a 70% bonus when you transfer your points over to IHG. Most of the time, though, you're going to find them down here. Airlines like Aer Lingus, Air Canada, British Airways, KLM, that's one you hear about a lot. A lot of these are going to be international airlines. You can fly, to different countries using your points and transferring it over to these companies, right? So even United Airlines is going to be a travel partner. It depends on the credit card issuer. Amex has their partners. Chase has their partners. Everybody has kind of their partners that they team up with, okay? Chase has a good amount of partners here. Let's say we want to do Air Canada, right? We're going to click on Air Canada. You're going to go down and click transfer points. And then here we go. You enter your Aeroplan member number or whatever member number you're going to have for that airline or that hotel. And then you're going to transfer some of your points. Boom. It looks like there's even a bonus on this one as well. Receive up to 25% bonus points. So sometimes there are going to be bonuses here, folks, even on top of getting extra value by booking using points, right? Let's see what would have happened if we wanted to fly from PDX, where I live here in Portland, out to Hawaii. Let's go to Hawaii. Let's go to Oahu. Flying to Honolulu, huh? So right around the beginning of the year. Mele Kalikimaka is a little bit late here, but we're going to use points. Click points here, and then let's search for flights. So here we are. We searched it up. Okay, we found a couple of flights. Let's just pick this first one here. 27,500 points. Okay, and then we're going to select our next flight. We're going to come back. Ooh, that's a good one. 26,500. Okay, leaving bright and early. All right, here we go. Now we'll continue. And then the whole thing is going to cost us $11 in fees and 54,000 points. How much would that have costed if we had paid in actual money? Okay, let's show our fares in money. We're leaving that first flight, okay? $357 already. It's not looking good, okay? And then we took that second flight out, $344, okay? Now, if we paid the dollar amount, this would have cost us $700, okay? Just over $700. But since we're using this point trick and we transferred our points over, it only cost us 54,000 points, okay? Which if you redeem that for cash, that only would have been $540. So, you know, we're potentially saving $160 of value here by just using points instead of actually paying for cash. We're going to use those points and make them work for us here. And here is going to be a great example of why we do this three-step process, okay? Because sometimes, you know, using the travel portal is going to be better, or sometimes using the cash value is actually going to be better. It's not always going to be immediately jump to transfer to a travel partner, okay? Now take a look here. What we did is we found the exact same flight. I changed it. I noticed it was a little bit different from the times, the exact times that it was on the other one, on the Chase one. So I made it the 6 a.m. and then the 9 a.m. It's going to be costing us 54,000 points plus $11 in fees. Okay. Now we're going to go on over to the Chase portal here, right? And what we pulled up was it actually ends up being cheaper with this points boost. It's going to be 46,720 points instead of 54,000 points plus the 1120 for fees. So if I were to have that many points, which right now I'm pretty low on points because I just spent some again, then this would be by far the best option. Okay, you're going to be saving the most money and getting the most value out of your points by by not transferring them and using the travel portal. Well, folks, I hope that cleared some things up. What I would do if I were in your shoes today and you're looking to travel, pull up those three numbers, okay? You just got to look up what are the transfer partners of whatever credit card you have that you have all these points on, and then get to work. Find those three numbers and you'll have your answer.